Cedar Rapids, Iowa, March 2023. 3:17 a.m. Sarah Patterson wakes to the sound of her 6-year-old son screaming. She runs to his room and finds Sean sitting upright in bed, tears streaming down his face, his small hands clutching his wrists. "Baby, what's wrong?" Sean looks at his mother with eyes that seem far too old for his face. His voice is trembling, broken. "Mama, I died. I died a long time ago. I was on a cross. There were 3 of us." Sarah's blood runs cold. "Sean, you had a nightmare." "No." His voice is absolute, certain. "I was the thief, the one next to Jesus. I stole bread to feed my children. I deserved to die. But he saved me." What would you do if your 6-year-old son told you this? A child who loves dinosaurs and SpongeBob, a child who has never been to Sunday school, a child who shouldn't know anything about Roman crucifixion or the thief who died beside Christ. This is not a fairy tale. This is the most impossible, most terrifying, most beautiful story of redemption you will ever hear. Because 3 months from this moment, the Patterson family will stand in the Jerusalem desert, watching archaeologists unearth a 1st-century tomb based on the precise instructions of this child. A tomb containing bones with evidence of crucifixion, and a wooden prisoner's marker etched with a single name in ancient Aramaic. Dismas, the repentant thief. Before we go further, ask yourself this. What would you believe? What would you do if your child suddenly spoke in a language that died with the Roman Empire? What would you do if they described the feeling of iron nails piercing their wrists with such accuracy that forensic pathologists confirmed every detail? Before we continue, please consider subscribing to the channel and letting us know where you're watching from. We read every single comment and truly appreciate you taking the time to listen to the story. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Population 137,000. A town where Friday night football games matter more than politics, and where the biggest debate is whether Casey's or Quick Star has better pizza. This is where the Patterson family lives. This is where everything was normal. Michael Patterson, 38 years old, teaches biology at Washington High School. He's the kind of teacher students remember, the one who brings in owl pellets for dissection and explains evolution with patience and clarity. He believes in facts, in evidence, in things that can be measured and tested. His world is built on the foundation of observable reality. Sarah Patterson, 36, works at St. Luke's Methodist Church as an administrative assistant. She organizes potlucks, prints bulletins, and quietly keeps the faith that her husband sometimes questions. She prays before meals. She believes in grace. But she never pushes it on Michael. Their marriage works because they respect each other's differences. And then there's Sean, 6 years old, 1st grade at Garfield Elementary. He has his father's brown hair and his mother's gentle eyes. His bedroom is a museum of plastic dinosaurs, half-finished Lego sets, and superhero posters. He's afraid of the dark. He refuses to eat vegetables unless they're hidden in mac and cheese. His biggest worry in March 2023 is whether he'll get the new Jurassic World Lego set for his 7th birthday. The Pattersons are unremarkable. Beautifully, perfectly unremarkable. They eat dinner together at 6 p.m. They watch Jeopardy! On Saturdays, they go to the farmer's market. On Sundays, Sarah goes to church while Michael takes Sean to the park. Their life is safe, predictable, boring in the best possible way. But on March 15, 2023, during a family camping trip to Palisades Kepler State Park, something happened that would destroy that safety forever. Something that would take their ordinary life and turn it into something impossible. Palisades Kepler State Park, March 15, 2023. A beautiful Saturday morning. The Patterson family is hiking the Cedar Cliff Trail, a moderate path that overlooks the Cedar River. Sean is excited. He's never been camping before. He runs ahead, his little sneakers crunching on the gravel path. Michael calls out, "Not too close to the edge, buddy." But boys are boys. Sean wants to see the river below. He leans over the rocky outcrop. The limestone is wet from morning dew. His foot slips. The sound Sarah hears is one she will never forget. The scraping of small hands against stone. The sickening thud. Then silence. Sean has fallen 12 feet onto a lower ledge, his head striking a boulder with devastating force. Blood pools beneath his small body. Sarah screams. Michael scrambles down the rocks, his hands shaking as he checks for a pulse. It's there. Weak, but there. The helicopter arrives within 20 minutes. Sean is airlifted to University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital. Severe traumatic brain injury, skull fracture, bleeding on the brain. The doctors work for 6 hours. They induce a medical coma to reduce swelling. For 3 days, Michael and Sarah sit in the ICU waiting room. Sarah prays. Michael stares at the wall, his scientific mind trying to calculate probabilities of recovery. The doctors are cautious. Even if Sean wakes up, there could be permanent damage. Memory loss, motor function impairment, personality changes. On the 4th day, Sean opens his eyes. The room is full. 2 nurses, Dr. Reyes, the attending neurologist, Michael and Sarah, who haven't left the hospital except to shower. Sean's lips move. His voice is hoarse from the breathing tube, but the words that come out freeze everyone in place. Abba, forgive them. They do not know what they are doing. Dr. Reyes blinks. That's a good sign. He's speaking. A little confused, but that's normal. Sarah's hand flies to her mouth. Her face goes white. Those words. She knows those words. Gospel of Luke, chapter 23, verse 34. Sean has never been to Sunday school. Sean comes home from the hospital on March 22nd. The doctors say he's made a miraculous recovery. No permanent damage, no cognitive impairment. He's the same Sean, except he's not. That first night, Sarah tucks him into his bed. The dinosaur sheets, the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. Everything familiar, everything safe. At 2 a.m., she finds him curled up on the hardwood floor of the hallway. He's whimpering. When she tries to move him back to bed, he screams, "No, the wood! The wood hurts my wrists!" He's pointing at the ceiling, pointing at nothing. His small hands are clenched as if something is piercing through them. Michael takes him to the pediatrician. Trauma response, they say. Nightmares. Give it time. But it gets worse. Sean starts drawing. Page after page of the same image. 3 crosses on a hill. Stick figures hanging from them. The middle cross is always bigger. Always marked with a crude circle above it. "Who taught you to draw this?" Sarah asks, her voice trembling. Sean doesn't look up. I remember. On the 5th night, Sean speaks in a language neither parent recognizes. Guttural. Ancient. The sounds scrape from his throat like gravel. Michael records it on his phone. He's desperate now. He posts it to a linguistics forum online. Within hours, someone responds. That sounds like Aramaic, 1st century dialect. Sarah calls Father Tom from St. Luke's. He arrives the next evening, a kind man in his 60s who has served the parish for 20 years. Father Tom sits with Sean. He plays the recording. His face goes pale. "What is he saying?" Michael demands. Father Tom's hands are shaking. He's saying, "I am Dismas. I stole to feed my children. I died beside the King of Kings." Michael stares. "Who is Dismas?" That night, Michael doesn't sleep. He researches until dawn. Dismas, according to Christian tradition, the name given to the repentant thief crucified next to Jesus Christ, the thief who asked for mercy and was promised paradise. The details start pouring out. Sean sits at the kitchen table with his crayons. He draws what he calls the nail. Not a modern nail. Something else. Something specific. It wasn't pointy at the end, he says, his 6-year-old voice unnervingly calm. It was square, thick. It went between the bones, not through them. Michael searches online. He finds forensic studies of Roman crucifixion. His blood runs cold. Sean is exactly right. Roman nails were square. They were driven through the wrist between the radius and ulnar bones to support body weight. How does a first grader know this? Then Sean draws a map. Streets, buildings, walls. He labels them in shaky handwriting. Via Dolorosa, Antonia Fortress, Golgotha. Sarah shows it to Father Tom. He contacts a colleague, Dr. Ellen Morris, a biblical archaeologist who has worked in Jerusalem for 15 years. Dr. Morris studies Sean's map over Zoom. Her expression changes. Where did he get this? These topographical features. They weren't confirmed until excavations in 2019. This isn't public knowledge. Michael's hands are shaking. He drew it from memory. Sean begins describing faces. The Roman centurion who supervised his execution. Longinus. He had a scar. Here. Sean traces a line across his own cheek. He cried when the sky went dark. He describes the weight of the crossbeam. 40 pounds. Maybe more. It pressed on my neck. I fell 3 times. He describes sounds. The sound of bones breaking. His own bones. When the soldiers broke his legs to speed up death. They didn't break his legs. Sean whispers. He was already gone, but they broke mine. I heard them snap. Sarah records everything. Dozens of voice memos, videos, drawings. The evidence is piling up. They're terrified. They're in awe, and they have absolutely no explanation. Michael, the man of science, sits in his home office at 3 a.m., surrounded by research papers about crucifixion, ancient Jerusalem, and reincarnation studies. Nothing makes sense. Everything makes sense. Michael Patterson is breaking. He's a biology teacher. He's spent his entire career teaching students about evidence, about the scientific method, about natural explanations for natural phenomena. This cannot be real. He makes appointments. Dr. Lisa Chen, child psychologist, Dr. Patel, pediatric neurologist, Dr. Marcus Webb, expert in childhood trauma and false memory syndrome. Each consultation ends the same way. Mr. Patterson, children can't fabricate this level of historical detail. There's no neurological explanation for language acquisition of a dead dialect. This isn't false memory. False memories are vague, malleable. Your son's memories are specific, consistent, and verifiable. Michael refuses to accept it. He turns on Sarah. You've been coaching him. His voice is sharp, accusatory. You work at a church. You've been filling his head with Bible stories. Sarah's eyes fill with tears. Michael, he's never been to Sunday school. You wouldn't allow it, remember? Then he saw something. A documentary. YouTube. Something. Michael scours Netflix, YouTube, Disney+. He searches for any program about Roman crucifixion that Sean might have accessed. He checks the browser history on every device in the house. Nothing. He creates a spreadsheet. Every detail Sean has mentioned. Every historical fact. He cross-references them with publicly available sources. 70% of Sean's knowledge isn't available in mainstream media. It's in academic journals, untranslated archaeological reports, forensic studies behind university paywalls. The tension in the house becomes suffocating. Michael sleeps on the couch. Sarah cries in the bathroom where Sean can't hear. At dinner, they don't speak. Sean sits between them, drawing his crosses, speaking his strange words. One night, Michael finds Sarah packing a suitcase. Where are you going? My sister's. I can't watch you destroy yourself trying to explain away a miracle. Michael stares at his wife, the woman he's loved for 12 years. What if it's not a miracle? He whispers. What if our son is losing his mind? Dr. David Rosenthal receives the email on April 3rd. His colleague, Dr. Ellen Morris, sends him the videos of Sean, the drawings, the voice recordings. David, you need to see this. I don't know what to make of it. Dr. Rosenthal is 67 years old. He has spent 4 decades at Hebrew University in Jerusalem. He's excavated at Masada, Qumran, and beneath the Temple Mount. He's also spent those decades debunking frauds, the Jesus tomb hoax, the James ossuary forgery, dozens of children claiming past lives as biblical figures. He's never found one that was real. He books a flight to Iowa expecting to expose another fraud in minutes. April 8th, Dr. Rosenthal arrives at the Patterson home. He's tall, grey-haired, with sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He carries a leather briefcase containing documents, photographs, and test materials. Sean is in the living room building a Lego set. He looks up when Dr. Rosenthal enters. The old scholar begins in English. "Hello, Sean. My name is David. I've come a long way to talk to you." Sean stares at him. Then, in a voice that doesn't sound like a child's, he responds. But not in English. The words flow in guttural ancient syllables. 1st century Aramaic. Fluent. Perfect. Dr. Rosenthal's briefcase falls from his hand. Sean is describing crucifixion practices, the specific technique of scourging, the number of lashes, the type of whip, details Dr. Rosenthal has only read in untranslated Latin military documents from the Roman archives, documents a 6-year-old couldn't access. Dr. Rosenthal's hands begin to shake. He sits down heavily on the couch. "How?" he whispers in Aramaic. "How do you know this?" Sean switches back to English. His voice is small again, childlike. "Because I was there. And Dr. Rosenthal, there's something else. Near Golgotha, beneath the execution site, there's a stone. It has writing on it. Names of prisoners. My name is there." Dr. Rosenthal's face goes white. "No one has found such a stone." Sean looks at him with ancient eyes. "That's because no one has looked where I'm going to tell you." Dr. Rosenthal doesn't leave Iowa. He stays for 2 weeks. He brings in specialists. Dr. Yael Goldstein, professor of Semitic languages at University of Chicago. Dr. Marcus Torre, forensic anthropologist specializing in ancient execution methods. Dr. Miriam Cohen, historian of 1st century Judea. They test Sean relentlessly. Dr. Goldstein speaks to him in Hebrew. Ancient Hebrew. Biblical dialects. Sean responds fluently. She asks him to sing. He sings a morning chant, a Kaddish variation that scholars believed was lost after the Second Temple's destruction. Dr. Goldstein's eyes fill with tears. This chant, we only had fragments. He knows the complete version. Dr. Torre shows Sean illustrations of Roman torture instruments. "Which one was used on you?" Sean points without hesitation. "The flagrum. 3 leather tails. Each one had pieces of bone and metal. It weighed maybe 2 pounds. Dr. Torre checks his notes. His voice is barely audible. "That's exactly right. Down to the weight." Dr. Cohen brings fragmentary Latin records from the Roman military archives, execution lists from Pontius Pilate's administration. Incomplete. Most names destroyed by time. "Tell me who else was crucified that day," she asks. Sean closes his eyes. "Gestus. He was the other thief. He cursed until he died. There was also Barabbas, but he was released. And 2 others whose names I don't remember. They were zealots, rebels." Dr. Cohen's hands tremble. "Gestus. That name appears in 1 fragmentary document in the Vatican archives. It's not public knowledge." For 2 weeks, they document everything. Video recordings, linguistic analysis, forensic verification. On the final day, Dr. Rosenthal sits with Michael and Sarah. His face is haggard, aged. "I came here to debunk him." His voice breaks. "I've spent 40 years exposing frauds. I am a secular Jew. I don't believe in the resurrection. I don't believe in miracles." He wipes his eyes. "But this child knows things he cannot know, and I believe him." Dr. Rosenthal uses his research grants. He funds the Patterson family's trip to Israel. They fly out on April 24th. But Sean is getting worse. The night before they leave, Sarah finds him in the bathroom. He's staring at his wrists, crying. There are red marks there, self-inflicted scratches. The iron, he whispers. It hurts so much. On the plane, Sean doesn't sleep. He stares out the window, trembling. Sarah holds him. She's terrified, not of what they'll find, but that they're losing their son, that the past is consuming him. Please, she prays silently, please let this end. They land at Ben Gurion Airport on April 25th. The moment they step into Jerusalem, Sean changes. His eyes clear. His posture straightens. He looks around like a man returning home after years in exile. I know this place, he says. Dr. Rosenthal has arranged a private tour, but Sean doesn't need a guide. He leads them through the old city, down narrow stone streets. He points to locations that no longer exist. The Antonia fortress was there. The holding cells were underground. He stops at a corner. Here, this is where I fell the second time. The beam was too heavy. Tourists walk past, taking selfies. They have no idea they're walking with a child who claims to have walked these streets 2 millennia ago. Sean takes them outside the city walls, to a rocky hillside near the Garden Tomb, the traditional site of Golgotha. He stops. His small body trembles. This is where I died. His voice is barely a whisper. This is where he looked at me, where he told me I would be with him in paradise. Tears stream down his face. Then he walks 20 feet to the right. He stops at a specific rock formation. Unremarkable. Just another piece of the ancient landscape. Dig here. Sean points at the ground. 6 feet down. You will find proof. Dr. Rosenthal stares at the child. What will we find? Sean looks up at him with eyes that have seen death. My bones! Dr. Rosenthal works frantically. He contacts the Israel Antiquities Authority. He calls in favors from 40 years of professional relationships. Emergency permits are nearly impossible. But he gets them. April 27th. The excavation begins. A team of 6 archaeologists. Ground-penetrating radar confirms something is below. A cavity, possibly a tomb. They dig carefully, 1 inch at a time. Standard protocol, 3 feet down, 4 feet, 5 feet. At 6 feet they find it. A 1st-century burial niche, cut into the limestone, the type used for criminals, for the poor, for those who died without honor. Dr. Rosenthal's hands are shaking as he brushes away the soil. Inside, skeletal remains. A man, aged approximately 30 to 35 years old based on bone density and dental wear. But it's the wrist bones that make Dr. Torre, the forensic anthropologist, gasp. Clear trauma. Evidence of a large object driven between the radius and ulna, the exact placement used in Roman crucifixion. My God, Dr. Torre whispers. Then Dr. Goldstein finds it, wrapped in decayed cloth near the skeletal hand. A small wooden token, a prisoner's identification marker. She brushes it carefully. There's writing, etched in ancient Aramaic. Her voice breaks. It says, Dismas. The team stands in stunned silence. Cameras are recording everything. Within hours, this will be on CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, every major network. But Sean isn't looking at the cameras. He's looking at the bones. Tears stream down his face. Sarah kneels beside him. Sean, baby, what's wrong? His voice is soft, broken, beautiful. He forgave me. I was a thief, a criminal. I deserved death. But when everyone else cursed him, mocked him, spit on him, I asked for mercy. Sean wipes his eyes. And he gave me paradise. He looked at me while we were both dying, and he promised me paradise. It happened slowly, like a dream fading in morning light, May 2nd, 5 days after the excavation. Sean wakes up and doesn't speak Aramaic. Sarah tests him. She plays the recordings of his own voice from weeks earlier. He listens, confused. That's not me, Mommy. May 5th, Dr. Goldstein visits. She speaks to Sean in Hebrew. He stares at her blankly. I don't understand. The knowledge is dissolving. The memories are slipping away like water through fingers. May 10th. Sean can no longer describe the face of Jesus. Sarah asks him gently what he looked like. Sean closes his eyes, tries to remember. I don't know anymore. But something remains. Peace. Deep, inexplicable peace. The nightmares stop. Sean sleeps through the night for the first time in 2 months. He stops scratching his wrists. He stops drawing crosses. One morning, he climbs into Sarah's lap at breakfast. "Mommy, I don't remember anymore." Sarah's heart breaks. "Remember what, baby?" "The things I was telling you. About the man on the cross. I don't remember his face. But I'm not scared anymore. I know I'm loved." He hugs her tight. "I know. Someone forgave me for something. I just don't remember what." Sean returns to first grade. He plays with his dinosaurs. He watches SpongeBob. He's 6 years old again. Just 6. But everyone around him has changed. Michael Patterson stands in front of his biology class. He still teaches evolution. But now, when students ask about the soul, he doesn't dismiss it. He says, "There are things science can't explain yet, and that's okay." Sarah frames a photograph. Sean standing at the excavation site in Jerusalem. She hangs it in their living room. Dr. Rosenthal returns to Hebrew University. He begins the most important work of his life, documenting the Dismas discovery, writing papers, defending the findings against skeptics. The discovery is verified, carbon-dated, authenticated by independent laboratories. The story goes viral. Millions watch the videos, read the reports. Some believe, some doubt. But no one can explain it away. June 2023, the Patterson family returns to Cedar Rapids, but they are not the same people who left. Michael Patterson stands in front of audiences now. Churches, universities, conferences. The biology teacher who once believed only in what could be measured now speaks about the limits of materialism. "I spent my life teaching students that everything can be explained by natural processes," he says, "and then my son remembered dying 2,000 years ago, and we found his bones." Sarah has framed a photograph. Sean standing at Golgotha, small against the ancient rocks. She looks at it every morning, a reminder that grace is real. The story has gone viral. 47 million views across platforms. Thousands of comments, debates in academic journals. Skeptics offer theories, confabulation, coaching, fraud. But none of them can explain the physical evidence, the bones, the marker, the carbon dating, the archaeological verification. Dr. Rosenthal's paper is published in the Journal of Archaeological Science, peer-reviewed, authenticated. The discovery is real. But here's the question that matters. What does this mean for you? If a thief, a criminal who stole to survive, who died in agony beside the Son of God, could find redemption in his final breath, what does that say about grace? What does that say about second chances? If Dismas could be forgiven, could be reborn into a new life, given another chance as a 6-year-old boy in Iowa, what does that mean for the rest of us? Press 1 in the comments if you believe Sean's story. Press 2 if you need more evidence. But either way, subscribe to this channel. Share this video. Because this story isn't just about one family in Iowa. It's about the eternal question that has haunted humanity since the beginning. Do our souls truly live on? Do we get second chances? Is redemption real? And if the answer is yes, what does that mean for the way we live today? Sean Patterson doesn't remember his past life anymore. But somewhere, deep in his soul, he knows he was forgiven. And that changes everything.